How's it going, PD team? I've got an additional video for you today that adds on my previous video, Total Recall Preset Value Node. This is part 2, where we learn how to deal with vector 3 type values, which requires a slightly different modified approach. If you haven't watched my previous video, link will be in the description below. This will be a quick video. With that being said, let's dive in. Here's some examples that you can make with the preset maker that I discussed last time. Last video, we did a kind of an IOR settings drop down. You can see we can select any one of these and it just pulls from these values. You can do the obvious, which is like presets for integers. We've got floats, which is the IOR one. We have 2D vectors, which is 2 values. And I've got a slot here for vector 3 values, which is 3 slots. We've got the obvious color and images, where we can load image slots with transform controls. So here's the node we're going to be creating. You can see we've got a directional dropdown with the noise facing on the X. Then I can click here and it's displaying the Y values, and you can see it's going up and down, and then the Z. So let's go ahead and build this out. So a common situation where you would use this 3 value vector is in a noise situation where you want to have directional scaling. You might want the user to be able to select the noise in Z direction, X direction, or maybe up and down Y direction. So I'm going to go ahead and add the inputs. I'm going to control click the scale, and then I'm going to start off with right clicking and do empty group. And I'll call this direction, give it a color, and we'll plug in our scale into the input. There we go. And then we'll dive inside. So like before, we start off with making a shader switch. And with the shader switch, we're going to be doing 3 values, 3 inputs. So I'm going to go ahead and add slot number 2 so that we have 3 inputs. So we're going to start off with doing the out color into scale. I'm going to delete this out closure. We don't need that. And then I'll add a value. I like coloring my value nodes red, and I'll give this a name of switch, plug it in. And we want our switch to be a integer. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our switch, duplicate it, and I'm just going to give this a name of X because we want the X direction. Call this one Y, control drag, and Z. Now all 3 of these need to be a 3 integer, 3 vector. So I'm going to go here and pick vector, and we can see we have 3 slots. So what I'm going to do is if I was to plug these in directly, it won't work. It works with the 2D vector, the 2 slotted vector, but it doesn't work with the 3. What we need to do is we need to convert this and vectorize it. So to do that, we're going to double click and type in vector, and then you'll see there's one called normalize. So we're converting the color into the directions into a normalize, and we'll plug it in, and we'll do this 2 other times. And there we go. So you'd think, why not just put 1 vectorize at the end here? Well, in order for this data to work within this shader switch, it needs to be normalized. So you can't have it go, the data type go in being a three directional vector and then change it here. It needs to be done prior to hitting the shader switch. So I like making these normalized a purple color, a dark purple like that. And then we'll add our first value in. So switch X, Y, and Z. And then I'm going to right click. Whoa. Hold on a second. So you made it this far. Clearly you're enjoying the content. Would you consider clicking the thanks button on this video to help grow the channel's community so I can make more great content just for you? Any amount is greatly appreciated. If money is tight right now, then do me a favor and just smash that like button immediately. Now to the video. And then I'm going to right click in this slot here, edit resource, and I'll give the tab here where it says output. I'm going to select it where it says input. I'm going to type in direction, hit enter. And then for our switch, we're going to change it from integer to integer, a standard integer, change the field to a drop down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to type in X, a colon, which is the 2 dots, and then 0, that's our first value, Y, colon, 1, and Z, colon, 2. And then I like clicking right down here, and that okays it, and you can see here's our slots propagated. We're now done with this window. We can close it out, and then we can select our node, and you can see we have a tab called direction, and here's our integers. So I'm going to put first value, I'm going to set to 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0. So there you go. So that's Z. So let's go ahead and try this out. So you can see now X is going this way. So if I look at my direction, you can see my X is facing left and right, Y is up and down, and Z is facing forward. And that is the directional control preset. And this is just one example that you can use this for. There's dozens of different examples you can come up with and use this node in your projects. That's it for this tutorial. I hope you found it useful. Thanks so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on more content. Thanks for your support.